if you are a union member in America today, folks, I'm telling you, you need to be voting Republican, okay? If you are a union member in America today, you need to be voting for President Trump. The Democrat Party has turned its back on the working class in America. Republicans are now the party of the blue-collar worker. Do you think a union member is focused on climate change? Are union members and people working in the plants and manufacturing facilities, are they focused on transgender mania? No. The Democrat Party is, of course, the party of elitists. That has become clear to me. President Trump wants an economy for all, not an economy for billionaires. So President Trump is now actively courting the unions. And they should give him his vote. It amazes me that some of them are still pushing back against President Trump. But he met with the Teamsters this week. This was President Trump when he left that meeting.
I think we had a very productive meeting. Stranger things have happened. Usually a Republican wouldn't get that endorsement. For many, many years, they only do Democrats. But in my case, it's different because I've employed thousands of Teamsters. And I thought we should come over and pay our respects. And as you know, a big part of the voting bloc votes for me.
I love it. And I love this about President Trump. He doesn't take anything for granted. You know what? He can recruit them in to give them an endorsement. Teamsters endorsement would be huge. Who are Teamsters? They're truck drivers. When you look across America, the Democrats are waging war on not just the trucking industry, but truck drivers themselves. Trust me, I know this. I used to own a fairly large trucking company, and I can tell you what they were doing to me and my drivers, the Democrats, with these environmental regulations and all kinds of things that they wanted me to put on the truck to lower emissions that only led to costly repairs, would in the end hurt the trucking industry and hurt the job prospects of truckers because the repairs were so costly. Listen to this trucking company owner.
This typically would be a $30,000 truck. Right now it's worthless. People are offering me $5,000 for it. Out of my 13 trucks, I have 8 trucks that are just sitting here.
Any new port truck purchased after next New Year's Day will have to be a zero emissions truck, either electric or hydrogen fuel cell.
I have to go to zero emission trucks. Those trucks are $400,000. They're still not ready for prime time.
Of course, that's in California. Folks, all those trucks he's talking about, if you can't use them, they sit empty. That means there's no truck driver driving them. This was the same case with my company. I couldn't run my trucks into California because they didn't meet California's very tough restrictions, which means I didn't have jobs for anybody that if I needed to send them into California. No jobs for the truck drivers. So this is what truck drivers say about all of this, and it's proof that they target drivers, not just the trucking companies. Listen to this government official in California.
Our agency is not here simply to write citations. Our agency is here to protect their health and to try and help them understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how they can best work within the framework that we've created to accomplish those goals.
Did you hear what he just said? He's writing truck drivers tickets to protect their own health. The truck drivers don't want your help. Those are costly tickets when they're already doing everything they can do to support their families. Truck drivers don't need the help, okay? Get government out of the way. President Trump is brilliant here when he talks to the Teamsters about why it's better to support him than anyone else.
We just had a meeting with the Teamsters, and one of the biggest problems they have is millions of people are pouring into the country. And that's a killer for the Teamsters, and I'm going to stop it. And that's why the Teamsters, I think, support me. Now, I don't know if the top people will support me. We're going to have to find that out. But within the union itself, I have tremendous support.
Well, the top people ought to be supporting you, Mr. President. It makes no sense not to. Any union in America today, blue-collar workers, again, are being helped by Republicans and their policies, certainly not by Democrats. But this would be especially true at the United Auto Workers Union. I mean, the Democrats' quest for 100% green vehicles fleet would crush the United Auto Workers. Yet they endorse Biden over and over and over again. This is the president of the UAW talking about President Trump.
Donald Trump is a scab. Donald Trump is a billionaire, and that's who he represents. If Donald Trump ever worked in an auto plant, he wouldn't be a UAW member. He'd be a company man trying to squeeze the American worker.
Listen to me, folks. If you're an UAW union member, you need to get rid of that guy. That guy is bad for your organization. Think about this, what Joe Biden wants to do. There is a push for all electric vehicles. By some accounts, 80,000 jobs have already been lost in the auto industry because of this green vehicle push. Listen to Joe Biden here. Talk about that, and you tell me if you're an auto worker, if this is good for you or not.
A future of the automobile industry that is electric. Battery electric, plug-in hybrid electric, fuel cell electric. It's electric, and there's no turning back. I'm signing an executive order setting out a target of 50% of all passenger vehicles sold by 2030 will be electric.
If you're an auto worker, how do you support that? If you work for Daimler, they've already laid off 20,000 people, Audi included. You got Ford laying off 3,000 people because of this electric vehicle push. Do you know 150,000 Americans work in just the combustion engine manufacturing in America? If you go to 100% all electric vehicles, there is no combustion engine. 150,000 people would be out of a job. Yet they condemn President Trump and they support a guy like Joe Biden. This is President Trump.
Well, I think the UAW made a terrible decision. And by allowing all electric cars, they're all going to be made in China. You're going to have no jobs over here. But I will not allow all electric cars. I'm going to have all kinds of cars because the electric mandate is a disaster. They don't go far enough. They cost too much. We don't have the materials to make them, but China does. And you've heard me say it 100 times. No, I would end that. You can buy an electric car, absolutely, but you're also going to be able to buy other types of cars.
Union workers, wake up. If you don't believe me, one more time from the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, a Democrat.
Our goal is by the end of this decade to be about half and half. We think that that can and will happen. I don't know a lot of people who think that Americans in 2050 are still going to be driving that old technology, that combustion technology that we inherited from the 20th century.
Okay, again, UAW, wake the hell up, man. Wake up. Which brings me to another union that is totally asleep at the wheel here. Now, you would think of all the unions in America, the United Mine Workers of America would be solidly behind President Trump. He wants to drill, baby, drill. He wants to expand coal production in America. But no, the United Mine Workers of America make no endorsement for president. How are you so stupid? No endorsement for president. Instead, you're going to not endorse President Trump over this guy?
All they're doing is you're going to save them a hell of a lot of money, and they're using the same transmission line they transmitted the coal-fired electric on. We're going to be shutting these plants down all across America and having wind and solar.
So you're going to make no endorsement. You're going to say, okay, I'm a mine worker, and we think maybe if you want to pick Joe Biden, that's fine. He's shutting down coal plants left and right. I warned coal miners in western Pennsylvania in 2012 when I walked neighborhoods there, all the way into West Virginia. And what do? Nobody pays attention. Obama waged war on coal. Joe Biden's been waging war on coal. All fossil fuels the Democrats want out, which hurts all of these unions I'm talking about. And yet the Coal Miners Association of America doesn't endorse anyone. Lunacy. Especially when you think coal, we can burn it very cleanly now, more clean than ever before. It is one of the most reliable forms of fuel. And wouldn't it be nice? We start exporting coal to China, make China reliant on us for something. They're desperate for coal. But no, John Kerry.
By 2030 in the United States, we will not have coal plants. By 2035, President Biden has set a target that we will be, in our power sector, carbon free.
As I mentioned, it's not just coal. It's a war on oil. It's a war on the American worker. All of these policies will affect truck drivers. They will affect auto workers. They will affect miners. And yet Joe Biden expects the endorsements from these unions. Well, this time around, at least from the Teamsters, he better not think so fast.
He's obviously taking his time for such a meeting. Did you take offense to that?
Look, we are one of the most, no, I didn't take offense to it. I'm a little perplexed by it. We are one of the most powerful unions in the country, and our 1.3 million members vote. I have had conversations with the president via phone several weeks ago. But I'll say this, if you truly want, anybody that truly wants our endorsement should come to the table sooner than later.
But he's not done that.
There's been conversations, he hasn't committed, you're correct.
Perplexed why Joe Biden hasn't gone and visited them. Why do you think that is? Because he despises trucks and he despises everything about the Teamsters union, the auto workers union, the miners, and yet these places consider giving their support to a guy that wants to put them out of business.